Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know you're disappointed, but please don't look at me like that. It's not my fault. I promise you it's not my fault. Don't blame me. I have to keep putting out content. Okay, so blame Deco, blame Joan Laporta, blame Nico Williams, and blame Dani Olmo for giving us the most boring transfer window I've ever lived through as a Barca fan. And honestly, bro, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. I know I say that all the time. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm honestly not being hyperbolic. This transfer window has sucked. Our president and our sporting director have done nothing, okay? And Nico Williams can't make up his fucking mind. And Dani Olmo, what is going on there? I thought we were going to hear news about Dani Olmo last week or maybe today. We've heard nothing. There's nothing going on. So again, blame them because they're not giving me content. They're not giving me anything to talk about. So I have to make up my own ideas and be creative. So today, as you can tell by the title of this video, again, you might hate it, but we're going to do it anyway. We're ranking managers' auras. I've compiled this list of 13 of the most iconic managers, some current, some retired, of the last 30 or so years. All these guys have coached in this century, and today we're going to rank their aura. We have 3 tiers today. Cool as a cucumber, neutral, or aura vacuum. It's pretty self-explanatory, guys. You either have positive aura, you either have neutral aura, or you suck all the aura out of a room. And today we're going to talk about these guys, like I said, rank the aura. Wherever you guys agree or disagree with, let me know in the comment section down below. Obviously, we did Barca players aura. That's how the series started. We did football players aura in general. And today we're doing part 3, the finale of the aura series. We are doing managers because hopefully after I post this video, we're getting closer to the football season. I won't have to make videos like this anymore because I really hate making these videos. I actually secretly kind of love it, but don't tell anybody. If you made it this far into the intro, don't tell anybody I actually fuck with making these videos. They're actually really, really fun to make. And I hope you guys enjoy them too. If you don't enjoy them, then I'm sorry, but I look, man. People wanted to see this, so again, I'm a man of the people. I gotta give the people what they want to see, and we gotta rank some managers' auras, man. So today, we're gonna do this, and yeah, let's just get into it right now. Let's stop dragging this intro any further. Let's start ranking these guys' auras. The first manager in this tier list that we're gonna talk about is Cholo Simeone, one of the most underrated managers of all time, in my opinion. But again, this list is not based off how good they are as a tactical mind, as a coach, how good they are on the touchline at setting up their team. Because if it was that, he'd be in the top tier because I believe he's a really, really good coach. And I believe he's been one of the best coaches in the world for the past decade. It's not about being a coach. It's based on aura. How much aura do you possess as a man? And I'm sorry, bro. When it comes to aura, Cholo Simeone is going to go into aura vacuum. There is no aura with this guy. Absolutely zero aura. I'm sorry, bro. People might disagree. Let me explain to you why this guy has no aura. He's an aura vacuum. He's always doing too much. That's the one thing you can't do if you want to have any type of aura, is doing too much. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to sit here and be like, oh, be a cool guy, don't try at all. There's nothing wrong with trying, but there's also trying too hard. Everybody knows a try hard. Never be a try hard, honestly. Because you guys know when you go to a party, and people are dancing and shit, and then there's one guy that wants to get in the middle of the circle and wants to do backflips, and he wants to do the fucking splits, and he wants to do like the renegade, or whatever the fuck, he wants to do this little thing, I don't know what, he's always dancing. Again, there's nothing wrong with dancing, but there's doing too much. Like, you're trying to impress people, and again, for me, that decreases your aura. Do enough, but never do too much. And Cholo Simeone, as a coach on the touchline, is always doing too much. There's no guessing with this guy. There's no stoicism with him. You can never really guess how he's feeling. He always tells you exactly how he's feeling. When you look at the touchline, when you look at an Atletico Madrid game and you look at the touchline and they show Cholo Simeone, he's going to be doing one of a couple things. Number 1, he's going to be fighting with the ref. Number 2, he's going to be fighting with an opposing coach. Number 3, he's going to be running up and down the sideline, either telling the crowd to make some more noise, or telling them to shut the fuck up, or he's going to be grabbing his dick because he loves that move. He loves grabbing his balls. And that, to me, again, not a lot of aura in that. That's kind of disgusting, in my opinion, just grabbing your balls in public. And again, it went back to bite him in the ass. That's one woman actually that decreases his aura massively. You can have one woman that completely decreases your aura. Same thing that I said about Mbappe, by the way. If you guys watched my video on ranking football players' aura, I talked about how Mbappe had that little incident at the Euro where he spit and it didn't really come out. It just like drooled down his chin, and that to me decreases aura. Cholo Simeone, that one moment with Ronaldo, when after the first leg at the Metropolitano when they beat Juventus, he was grabbing his nuts, and then Ronaldo came back and scored 3 goals in the second leg, and then he grabbed his and then he did Simeone's celebration in front of him, and then like that, and there's like obviously that iconic picture of Ronaldo making fun of him. That to me is going to decrease your aura massively. And again, he already had very low levels of aura because Cholo Simeone is a guy who never leaves. You always know, like I said, you always know what he's thinking, what he's doing. He's always doing something, and it's too performative, bro. He's like rolling on the grass and making faces, and his hair is all over the place, and you can see his bald spots. And again, there's nothing wrong with being bald. I might be bald in a couple years. Who the fuck knows? Everybody at some point will probably go bald if you're a dude watching this video. I mean, it happens. Again, so there's nothing wrong with balding. But again, when you're running up and down the pitch and your hair's flying all over the place and you can see all your bald spots from your hair transplant, there's not going to have a lot of aura there, bro. There's not going to be a lot of aura there. And again, that's like the minimal part. The hair is like 3% of the pie, 97% of the pie, or 99% of the pie, I should say, 99, or 96% of the pie, I should say. It's just because he's always doing too much. And if you know, you know. If you understand what I'm saying, you understand that what I'm saying is not me trying to be a dick. It's just stating a fact. Maybe I am being a little bit of a dick, but again, it's a video, it's harmless, who gives a fuck? But again, Cholo Simeone for me, always doing too much, is gonna go into aura vacuum. Next up, we have Thomas Tuchel, who to me is gonna go into neutral. I've never been a fan of a team coached by Thomas Tuchel, but I'm guessing if you are a fan of a team that Thomas Tuchel has coached, when you look at him on the touchline, he doesn't really exude confidence, nor does he instill worry in you. And that to me is the perfect example of neutral aura. When I look at Thomas Tuchel, yes, he can be kind of like Simeone in this fact that he gets like really performative on the touchline. You know, we saw it against Real Madrid, and rightfully so, by the way. When they disallowed that De Ligt goal in the second leg, he was pissed. He was like fucking yelling at the ref and cursing at the ref. But again, he doesn't do it as much as Simeone, and in that moment it was justified. Simeone does it when it's not justified at all. Like Simeone is just bitching all the time. Like, but that was justified from Thomas Tuchel. But again, when I look at Tuchel, he's wearing the hat, he's wearing the tracksuit, maybe a suit. You know, if he wore a suit like an all black suit, like a turtleneck, like Pep, maybe that would increase his aura. But again, the hat, the tracksuit, it looks like you're a high school track coach. It looks like you're coaching wrestling to me. So again, you got to dress up a little bit more. Simeone, that's one thing about Simeone. Simeone has really dope outfits. Like when he dresses on the touchline, he dresses to impress. The all black suit, I mean, it looks fucking dope. But Tuchel's not really like that. But again, is that enough to put you into aura vacuum? No. And yes, this guy did beat Pep in a UCL final. But is that enough to put you in cool as a cucumber? No, man. Like, to be as cool as a cucumber, you gotta just have that thing about you, that je ne sais quoi. And to me, Thomas Tuchel doesn't have that je ne sais quoi. He just doesn't have it. Again, he doesn't have that je ne sais na, if you, like, continue. Like, guys, this is what we do on this channel. We continue jokes. It's like a good TV show. You guys know how TV shows, you guys know how TV shows, they continue jokes? Like, that's what she said, a joke on The Office. It's like, it's in every season, basically. Here, we continue jokes. If you know about the je ne sais na, you know. We did that, we talked about that in the last Aura video. But anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, to me, he's gonna go into neutral. I really, like, when I first planned this video out, I didn't really have much to say about Thomas Tuchel, but that to me is exactly why I added him into the video, because if I don't have much to say about you, it's because you're just a neutral person. You fall directly into neutral. So for me, that's going to be where Thomas Tuchel is placed on this tier list. Next up, we have Xavi. Oh my God, bro. Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Xavi to me is going to go into neutral. And if it wasn't for this picture, Xavi would be right next to Simeone in aura vacuum. He'd honestly be ahead of Simeone, because everything I said about Simeone, I could apply to Xavi. And mind you, Xavi as a player had immense levels of aura. He had as much aura as any player I've ever watched in my life. Xavi did. This guy was the epitome of cool as a cucumber when he was a player. But again, aura does not transfer like from player to like if you're a player and you have high levels of aura, it does not mean you're a coach with high levels of aura. Again, it's two totally different jobs. You being a player and being a manager is totally different. So again, Xavi as a player would have been in the top tier, but as a manager, he's going into neutral. And again, it's only because of this picture after the Celta Vigo game, which is one of the coldest photos I've ever seen in my entire life. Him looking at that camera after that Celta Vigo game, where Barca, if you remember, Lewandowski missed the pen, but then they looked back at it and saw that the keeper was off his line, so he had to retake the pen, and we scored and ended up winning that game. And then he looks at the camera like, yeah, you see, I told you, it was always under control. That's a dope picture. But again, Xavi, he's just as annoying as Simeone. He was just as annoying as Simeone. And if you watch any Atletico Madrid and Barca game, you would know these guys were always bickering with each other. It was like the worst thing ever. Watching Barca and Atletico Madrid play against each other. Xavi actually got sent off this year against Atletico Madrid. He got sent off, I'm pretty sure, at the Metropolitano against Atletico Madrid. Because again, Xavi was always bitching about something, bro. He was always bitching about something, getting sent off, kicking the cooler. I mean, no, that's aura's decreased massively. You're supposed to be stoic. Players are supposed to look to you as a manager and, you know, feed off your vibe. And you know what vibe are they feeding off when they watch Xavi, dude? Like for me, again, Xavi, I'm sorry, I don't want to keep shitting on the guy because I talked bad enough about him when he was a Barca coach. But I'm sorry, bro. When it comes to a manager, he's gonna go into neutral for me. And again, it's simply because of that one moment. That one picture increases aura massively. That's at least 20,000 aura points. But again, his overall personality, he's just an aura vacuum. But again, that one picture is saving him. He was saved by that one picture. But yeah, Xavi is just like Simeone. Always doing too much, and when you're always doing too much, yeah, you're just gonna your aura is just never gonna be as high as it can be, to be completely honest with you. Next up, we have Carlo Ancelotti, cool as a cucumber. Aura personified, bro. This is aura. Carlo Ancelotti is the definition of aura, man. This guy, bro, I mean, just like raising up an eyebrow and having your team come back from 2 goals down, 3 goals down. I mean, this guy, it's just, there's something about Ancelotti. I mean, it's just the suit, you know, still has a full head of hair in his 60s, you know what I mean? The look, like always the fucking gum. This guy just has that appearance about him on the touchline. He looks like a fucking mafia boss. He looks like if Al Capone was a football manager. That's what Ancelotti is. That's exactly what he is. Again, apart, like Al Capone was a terrible person, but again, I'm talking about like his presence, dude. That's what Ancelotti possesses. The presence of a man who's just like I belong here. I'm here and I know why I belong here. Also has the most UCLs out of any manager ever, which again is fucking crazy. But I mean, this guy, bro, we saw it in that whole 2022 UCL run with Benzema. We saw it this year again. Team is down, they're not playing well. This fucking guy makes one sub, the sub comes in, changes the whole game, and he just makes it happen every single time, whether it was Rodrigo or whether it's Joselu. This guy just knows what the fuck is up. He just knows what's up. Again, on the gum also, raising your eyebrow every time the team is down. I mean, it's a whole meme at this point. Because it's true. Whenever his team is in trouble, he raises his eyebrow. They somehow telepathically know exactly what he wants them to do, and then Real Madrid goes out there and puts and then just comes back out of nowhere. It's crazy, dude. It is crazy. I've never seen aura like Ancelotti's when it comes to a manager. It is insane. Some of the highest levels of aura of all time are like he possesses those. So for me, Ancelotti again, he's gonna go into cool as a cucumber. Not just that, bro. When he was the AC Milan manager, cool as fuck, bro. Cool as shit. I mean, this guy to me, yeah, he's been cool for his whole life. Ancelotti's one of those guys who's just like, you just want to be around him, bro. His players fuck with him. You know, he has that vibe. After the UCL win in Paris, I remember in 2022, he was dancing with Vini, he was dancing with Camavinga. You know, it seems like a guy that players love being around him. They feel really comfortable around them, and that's because of his high levels of aura, man. So for me, Ancelotti's gonna go into cool as a cucumber. One of the coolest managers, or people, honestly, that I've ever had to watch through a screen. Glazing, I know, but dude, this guy, if you know, you know. Next up, we have Jurgen Klopp. Klopp, to me, can either fall into the top tier of cool as a cucumber or the bottom tier of aura vacuum. He's not a neutral aura guy. You gotta pick, okay? And it depends what you like. You know, it comes down to preference. Some people might think that Jurgen Klopp belongs in aura vacuum because he's kind of a tryhard sometimes. But other people might believe he belongs in cool as a cucumber because he is a cool guy. You know, he exudes that level of confidence on the touchline. For me personally, again, what I like, I'm gonna put him in cool as a cucumber because I feel like what Klopp does is not as annoying. It's not nearly as annoying as what Simeone does. Klopp is a guy who, yes, he can be kind of annoying. He can always be bitching about something. He's bitching about the grass. He's bitching about the schedule. He's bitching about the refs. He's always talking about. He was always like when he was a manager, obviously, he was always talking about something. He was complaining about something to the press. But this guy, I mean, let's not forget, he is a cool fucking guy. I mean, he's just a cool guy, bro. I mean, the fist bumping to the crowd after the wins at Anfield, you know, they know, like, he has like this whole little routine with them. The way that his players kind of, you know, play for him. I mean, that obviously comes down to aura. I mean, this guy has, his players fucking loved him when he was a manager. Not to me, obviously matters when it comes to your aura as a coach, as I touched with Ancelotti as well. And he just has a certain energy about him. Again, the teeth, the always smiling, you know, he has the hat. He has like that presence, you know what I mean? He has that presence on the touchline. You know, he got into that whole little scuffle with Mohamed Salah. You know, he doesn't back down. You know, you think you're gonna embarrass me, bro? No, I'm gonna embarrass you. And they got into a little back and forth. He stood his ground. You know, he didn't shut up. Oh, star player, you want to come at me? Fuck you. I'm coming at you too. Not in like a disgusting way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about like as like a confrontational way, not sexual. But yeah, bro. To me, Jurgen Klopp again, I think he's cool as a cucumber. I think he has a lot of attributes that he possesses that just exude confidence in a team. And I think we obviously saw that when they came back against Barcelona at Anfield. You know, this guy, without two of his best players, just came out and said, you know what? Fuck these guys. We're gonna put 4 past them. How am I gonna do it? I don't know. But Divock Origi is gonna make something happen. You know what I mean? He's gonna make something happen. Gini Wijnaldum is gonna make something happen. I trust my players. And again, I think Jurgen Klopp just has that je ne sais quoi about him. I think he has enough aura to where people look at him and think, you know, this guy, you know, he's a cool guy to be around. So for me, Jurgen Klopp is gonna go into cool as a cucumber again. He can either go into cool as a cucumber or a vacuum. If you would put him in aura vacuum, let me know why. Again, I was thinking about putting Klopp in aura vacuum because I do think that sometimes he can do too much. And it can be kind of cringy, but I think he's right on that line where it's like, it's not so much cringy as it is, it's cool, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool. It's not cringy, it's cool. So for me, Klopp is going to go into cool as a cucumber. Next up, we have Lionel Scaloni. Cool as a cucumber. This guy is insane. Insane. His World Cup penalty shootout reactions is exactly what you want in a manager. No facial expression, no sadness, no happiness. The job's not done yet. This guy knows when the job is done, he can celebrate. Imagine walking into a national team that hadn't won a trophy since 1993. One of the most passionate fan bases in international football. One of the national teams with the highest expectations hadn't won a trophy in like 28 years. And you walk into that national team with having no other coaching experience, and you haven't lost a single tournament. You've played in 3 tournaments, you haven't lost a single one. You've lost 2 games in the span of 5 fucking years, bro. You win the World Cup in your first year. Oh, France just scored another goal? Who gives a fuck? Oh, I'm cool. I don't give a shit. Oh, Netherlands just scored another goal, they equalized? I don't care. We're going to win anyway. Oh, what's happening here? Oh, Mexico, we're tied against Mexico, 0-0. We're chilling. This guy doesn't give a fuck, bro. He doesn't give a fuck. He sits on that touchline and he knows I'm good enough, bro. Like, this guy just exudes confidence. There's nothing like, Scaloni just exudes that. He has that thing where you look at him and the players know we're good because we have that guy. And you saw it, bro. That World Cup final reaction to the penalty shootout, that moment alone. If that would have been his only coaching moment in his career, that's the only thing we would have ever seen from Scaloni. He would still be in cool as a cucumber. That moment alone, it's a World Cup final. You're in penalty shootouts. You have a chance to be the coach that brings Argentina their 3rd World Cup in their history. You can become that guy, and you're just sitting there like this with your arms crossed. Nice. Nice. And then when Montiel scores a goal, what does he do? He breaks down in tears, like a real man should. Nothing wrong with crying, man. It's a beautiful thing. So for me, Scaloni is going to go into cool as a cucumber. What a guy. Next up, we have Jose Mourinho. Kind of on a roll here, man, because we're going to put Jose Mourinho, you guessed it, in cool as a cucumber. This guy, in his peak, man, it's aura. That's what it was. It was literally aura. At his peak, man. When this guy was at Porto, when he joined Chelsea, when he went to Madrid, when he went back to Chelsea, at his peak, man. This guy at Inter, oh my God, the levels of aura at Inter were insane. But at Chelsea, bro, when he walks into that press conference, he's like, I'm European champion. I'm confident in myself. I'm a European champion. When he says, I have 3 Premier Leagues, the other managers don't even have, like, what is it? 3 for me, 2 for them in that press conference. When he gave that whole press conference about like Man City and Man United and why they're different, when he ran around the Camp Nou after beating Barcelona, ran around the Camp Nou with his fucking finger in the air, with the sprinklers going off. Victor Valdés had to go and push him off the pitch. This guy didn't give a fuck. Beating Prime Barcelona in their stadium, a game that, by the way, still breaks my heart, and I fucking hate him for it. But it was insane. It was insane. When he went, didn't he one time eye poke a Barca coach? I think it was actually Tito Vilanova, rest in peace. But one time in a Clásico, he eye poked the Barca coach. I mean, when he went to Madrid, he kind of became a scumbag. But when you look at him at Inter and Chelsea, I mean, this guy just had so many memorable quotes. I mean, in his prime, bro, this guy had aura. He could back it up. I mean, it was the epitome of I know I'm good enough to back this shit up. And again, his press conferences are some of the most legendary press conferences in the history of football. So many quotable things that he said, so many cold moments. So for me, with Jose Mourinho at his peak is gonna go into cool as a cucumber. He still has aura. I mean, don't get me wrong. At Roma, when he was at Roma, he had high levels of aura. It's obviously not the same that it was before, because back then he was actually winning and backing it up. But again, like, aura is something that it's very hard to lose. If you still have, it's very hard to lose those levels of aura that he had in his peak. So for me, Jose Mourinho is going to go into cool as a cucumber 1,000%. Next up, we have Hansi Flick, and he to me is going to go into neutral. I got to be fair, man. I got to be fair with Hansi Flick. I know he's a new Barca coach, and I want to put him in cool as a cucumber, but right now, he's going to go into neutral for me. If I would have made this video right after he got done coaching Bayern Munich after winning the Sextuple with them, I would have put him in cool as a cucumber, because that first season at Bayern, when he took over mid-season and won the Sextuple, showed immense levels of aura. Immense levels of aura. And obviously, we know he's a great manager, but I'm talking about like on the touchline. I remember that game against Barca, obviously, when they beat us in that 8-2. Barca had scored a goal. I think they had made it like 7-2. And Hansi Flick was pissed, bro. He was pissed. He was like, no, more intensity. That's aura, bro. Like, it's not enough. Do more. Okay, we need to be better. We need to spank these guys. Again, in the moment I fucking hated him for that, but now that he's the coach, I'm like, I love that mentality. But then after I saw his documentary that he did with the German national team, and in the World Cup and the Amazon documentary, a lot of yelling, man. A lot of yelling and a lot of like messages that weren't going through. And again, when you're yelling and the message is going through and the players are actually performing, that's fine. But when you're yelling and it's not working on the pitch, it's going to decrease your aura. You know what I mean? It's going to decrease your aura. It's like when that teacher says, the next person who says something is getting kicked out of class, and then that one kid who doesn't give a fuck, he's like, oh, what? He just starts talking, and then he gets kicked out of class. It makes the teacher look, it makes the student look like a dickhead, but it also makes the teacher look bad because it proves that you have no authority. You know, they don't fear you. And I think in that moment we saw that those players weren't really fearing Hansi Flick. You know, they weren't really like his message wasn't computing in their brain. So to me, that decreases his aura a little bit. But again, his first season at Bayern had so much aura that it kind of, you could put him in cool as a cucumber, but again, he falls right into that middle spot, right into the neutral. You know, he's not an aura vacuum, 100% not. He's not even close to an aura vacuum, and we're going to see at Barca. When I make this tier list again, hopefully I actually don't ever have to make a tier list like this again, but if I do make this tier list again, in a year after he wins the treble with Barca, he'll go into cool as a cucumber. But yeah, to me, Hansi Flick, he's a guy who, his personality is very intense. We know this guy likes to get the most out of his players. He likes them to get to work out and all that stuff, which is obviously great. But again, that Amazon dog kind of threw me off a little bit. So for that reason, we're going to put him into neutral right now. Next up, we have Erik ten Hag. Aura vacuum, bro. This doesn't do it for me at all. Doesn't do it for me at all. I don't know what it is about Erik ten Hag, but this guy sucks the aura out of a room. Honestly, he does. He sucks the fucking aura out of a room. He sucks it dry, bro. Honestly, he sucks it dry. This guy, I mean, I don't know what it is about him, but something about him just pisses me off. And again, if I was a United fan, I would just hate to have this guy as my coach. I honestly would hate to say Erik ten Hag is the coach of my football team. Again, as a tactician, I don't think he's that bad. But when it comes to aura, man, I mean, he just comes across as so fucking annoying. You know what I mean? He's that guy. He's like that guy that's just annoying. He just, like, I think I would hate playing for Erik ten Hag. If I was fortunate enough to be a pro footballer and play for Man United, I would hate playing for Erik ten Hag. Okay? I just wouldn't want to do it. Like the whole thing with Jadon Sancho, where, you know, there's like whole beef going on, and then he got like there's a whole thing with Garnacho where there's a post criticizing the manager, and then he's like in the post. It's like, bro, do people even like you? Do people even like you? It seems like most people don't like this guy. It seems like most of his players don't like it. He also had a couple other disagreements with some other players, but again, bro, to me, Erik ten Hag just doesn't do it for me. He's an aura vacuum. And if you're a Man United fan, I know you agree with this. What does this guy bring? What does he bring? Are his press conferences particularly memorable? You know, does he have any cool moments? No, he has nothing. Oh, he's dick riding Anthony, bro. What the fuck is that about? When you're dick riding Anthony, you're automatically gonna go into aura vacuum. That guy has nothing. Anthony, if you're backing Anthony, if that's the guy you're banking on to make you look good, you're fucked. Because he's always gonna fail. If you bank on Anthony, you're gonna go broke. So for me, he's gonna go into aura vacuum. Erik ten Hag, I'm sorry, man, but you have nothing to offer, in my opinion. Next up, we have Pep. Pep falls into a similar category as Jurgen Klopp, where you either think he's an aura vacuum or he's cool as a cucumber. There is no neutral opinion about Pep Guardiola's aura. You either love it or you hate it. Obviously, you guys probably know where I stand. I fucking love Pep Guardiola's aura. He's cool as a cucumber to me. This guy, bro, here's the thing about Pep. Yes, he can be annoying. Okay, he can be extremely fucking annoying, always yelling at his players, being extremely intense, doing the whole fucking, like in Arabic it's called harakat, where you're doing too much, like kind of like what Simon does. He's doing like these hand gestures on the touchline, you know, he's talking to the guy, that one video where he's talking to the empty chair, where he's always drinking a water bottle every time he gets nervous. I mean, Pep doesn't do a really good job of hiding his emotions. He's like the opposite of Ancelotti in that sense. He does not do a good job of hiding his emotions whatsoever. But Pep is a guy who, he knows how to deal with the media, bro. This guy knows. He's smart as fuck, bro. He's too smart of a guy to be an aura vacuum, bro. He just is, man. I'm not saying that Erik ten Hag and Simeone are dumb, but what I am saying is that they're not the smartest. Okay, Pep is just too smart, bro. He knows how to deal with the media. He knows how to get those quotes. He knows how to say, if you watch a Pep press conference, he's very, very cool and collected, bro. He's barely ever rattled. You know, yes, he gets upset at times, but he's a cool guy. He had that whole press conference when he was at Barca when Mourinho called him out, you know, right before the 2011 UCL semifinal, and Pep comes out and says, Mourinho's el puto jefe. You know, he was calling out Mourinho, but in a subtle way. Like, Pep is not a confrontational guy, but he will take shots at you. And again, you could either think that that's a good thing or a bad thing for aura. I think that's a good thing. I think that a person who knows themselves enough to know what their strengths are. And I think Pep knows exactly his strengths when it comes to the media and dealing with that shit. So for me, when I look at Pep, bro, he's cool as a cucumber. Also, the fact that he's arguably the greatest football mind in the history of the game. A guy who won a sextuple his first year in charge. If you looked at him at Barca when he was a manager that first year, when he still had kind of the hair and he was like leaner, I mean, he was younger. This guy was, I mean, you were like, who the fuck is this guy, bro? Like, he just looked like this young wonder kid who was just bossing Sir Alex Ferguson in the UCL semifinal, who was winning a treble his first year there. I mean, talk about levels of aura, man. talk about levels of aura. When like his last game at the Camp Nou, when he was getting tossed up in the air, Pep Guardiola to me is gonna go in cool as a cucumber, 1000%. Yeah, there's really no debate about it in my opinion. Next up we have Arsene Wenger. I'm sorry, bro, Arsenal fans, I apologize. He's an aura vacuum to me. And look, man, a lot of people growing up thought that Arsenal was actually named after Arsene Wenger. So that maybe increases your aura a little bit. But Arsene Wenger to me, I don't know what it is about this guy, but he never, like, he has no aura in my opinion. He's an aura vacuum. It could be all those, like, when I talked about Mourinho, when him and Arsene Wenger used to get into it, like, Arsene Wenger was just so tall and lanky to go up to Mourinho and try and, like, push him around. But he, like, it looked so unnatural, man. Like, it just, like, he looked weird doing it. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm sorry if that sounds mean, but he just looked weird doing it. And again, if you've seen those clips of them fighting, if you haven't, go look at them. Arsene Wenger just doesn't exude, like, there's nothing there for me. I'm sorry. Like, for me, Arsene Wenger is going to go into aura vacuum. Again, a guy who's responsible for a lot of the great things that Arsenal have nowadays, a guy who helped grow the Premier League massively, one of the best managers in Premier League history. But again, for me, you know what it could also be? I remember when I was like growing up, I would watch all the AFTV interviews about Arsene Wenger and how badly they wanted him gone. I'm talking about like back in 2015, 16, those years. And you know, the way that they would talk shit about him and the way that they would just fucking like this. They wouldn't leave this guy alone, bro. It was actually crazy how much they were going on Arsene Wenger. Maybe that's still kind of playing into my psyche, but to me, Arsene Wenger is going to go into aura vacuum, man. I'm sorry, there's just nothing about this guy that I think can put him above that. So again, for that reason, he's going to fall into aura vacuum. Next up, we have Fergie, Sir Alex Ferguson, who to me is going to go into cool as a cucumber. This guy had immense aura as a manager. Immense aura for Sir Alex Ferguson. This is a guy who both on the touchline and at the press conferences, just always knew how to act. Always knew how to carry himself really, really well. A guy who's like the biggest figure and arguably the biggest club in England for a reason. I mean, this guy, just not just what he did on the pitch, but off the pitch, the way, like I said, he conducted himself. Always with the gum in his mouth, always sitting on the touchline, you know, at Old Trafford in those seats, just being really, really calm with his legs crossed. This guy knew what the fuck was up. This guy knew what the fuck was up. And so for me, Sir Alex Ferguson is 100% going to go into cool as a cucumber. A guy who, I mean, up until Mourinho got there, had the highest aura of any manager in the Prem. Then once Mourinho came, he actually took over. I think Mourinho had higher levels of aura than Sir Alex. But Sir Alex was a guy who always, I mean, he always, like, he carried himself in a very good way, in my opinion. So for that reason, he's going to go into cool as a cucumber 100%. And lastly, we have Mikel Arteta, Arsenal manager, who to me is going to go into neutral. I mean, look, bro, the whole fucking, the fucking banana guys, you know what I mean? The whole, like, I watched the Amazon All or Nothing documentary with Arsenal. And look, a lot of times he tries too hard to be Pep. But Mikel Arteta is a guy who, you know, he is a cool guy. You know, like, he's a guy that you would want to have a beer with. When I look at Mikel Arteta, again, I would not want to have a beer with anybody in aura vacuum. I'm sorry that's kind of how I judge it, by the way. I don't want to have a beer with Simeone, Erik ten Hag, or Arsene Wenger. That'd be, honestly, like, I just leave. I would just get up and leave. You know what I mean? Like, listening to these guys tell stories, it must be the most boring thing in the world. But listen, I can listen to Mikel Arteta tell a story, okay, 100%. But again, for me, sometimes he tries too hard to be Pep and be something that he's not, giving all these stupid fucking analogies about bananas and shit, which to me kind of pisses me off. But again, for the most part, I think he's a really, really cool guy. So for that reason, he's going to go into neutral. But again, he does have those moments, like I said, with Xavi and with Simeone at times, where he could do a little bit too much on the touchline. But for the most part, I think Mikel Arteta has a very neutral aura about him. Not too high, not too low. And that, guys, is the end of the video. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, man. If you made it this far into the video, then you're a real one. If you didn't like this video, you don't like this aura series, don't worry. This is the last part we're doing. It was the last one because I had to complete the trilogy. I had to do players, I had to do managers. So we completed the part 3. It's done now. No more aura bits, I promise you guys. But if you guys did like these videos, then I appreciate you all for the support and obviously wanting me to make more, because I do have a lot of fun making these videos. But from now on, it's just going to be back to regular content. But yeah, man, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.